For more content like this, log on to GibboPresents.com.
It's Gibbo, and right now I'm joined by reggae soul singer and songwriter. It is Micah Shemaiah. Micah, how are you?
Yeah, my brother. Give thanks, Gibbo Presents, respect and love every time.
The announcement has been made. Original Dreads, the album, is on its way, but at the moment, that's about all I know about the project. Can you fill the gaps in for me? How long have you been working on this release, and which producers and artists have you been collaborating with?
Okay, well, this release, I think we started working on this from last year, February. It's been a very slow process, because we like to make the music like that, balanced. It's a collaborative production with myself and a brethren called Will T from England, a very good producer, but very young and not so heralded. I like to work with people who are not so heralded in the music industry. But there's quality, and the album is coming in late June, so people can look out for it. We don't have a specific date in June yet, but it's in June for sure.
And it was Will T who produced Easy Breezy, yes?
Yes, it was.
Initially, will the album be released on vinyl only, with a digital download coming later?
Well, that is where the release date has been giving us some problems, because we actually, vinyl, since we released it at the Control back in them time, vinyl has gone into a new market now, where, we're seeing the resurgence of vinyl. So the presses are very, very packed up and backed up, as I would say. So most times it's like month and 2 months, 3 months before you can get products back from the presses. So that is why we've been, holding off, because, vinyl is really what I'm about. I'm about preserving the culture of vinyl, and not only that, but preserving reggae music on its own medium, which I think vinyl is the medium for reggae music. At least the reggae music that we do to try and free the people, the soul kind of thing, So that's what's holding up the whole release thing, But we're looking at iTunes as well, for all the people who deal with the download part of the music and thing, So we'll be doing a pre-order very soon. I will send you the date so you can post it up and thing, So people can look out for the pre-order coming probably next week, and then hopefully we'll get back the vinyls in time and we can drop them. But we're coming on iTunes and on vinyl with the album.
As you touched on there, you're one of, if not the artist who is leading the charge at the moment when it comes to releasing new material on vinyl. As a vinyl junkie and collector myself, I love this, but can you explain to me why it's so important to you personally to release your material on vinyl, and why you've gone out your way to champion its cause?
Well, the cause it's probably look like it's being championed by myself, because it is my character, my persona, which makes me not willing to give up on things that we will start. But when we started this thing and this whole movement that people now see as the reggae revival and blah blah blah, these topics and reasonings were among all of us, all of the youths them that know, like Kabaka, Pyramid, Sons of Dub, Chronics, Kellysa, you name it, we all reasoned about this stuff, but the commercial side of music asks for a different road, and I have chosen not to go on the commercial road. So I would say it is kind of easier for me not to make certain decisions as it comes to releasing music. I release music in time, meaning I don't try and saturate the market, because it's already a saturated market where it's just a bag of music, and it's most of it not getting to the people in the right way because of the saturation. So I am very conscious of that, and I release my music in a certain way. Now, that is one reason vinyl provides me with that balance, because the vinyl market is really a market of people who right now, it's not a mainstream market, so right now in its capacity, it provides a fan base that actually is rooted to the music and is in respect of the quality of the music, and not because it's a hit song or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's almost like, giving a king his title before he is crowned, So that is what the vinyl market does for roots reggae music. It gives you that energy and power before, the world says, oh, blah, 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 or this, we like this, you know what I mean? So those people look out for the quality of artists coming from anywhere in the world, So that is one reason. And two, I believe vinyl is the medium. As I say, we have MP3s, we have CDs, we have a lot of mediums now for music. But the medium of vinyl for reggae music is very important because it holds a record. That's why it's called a record. It holds a record of the period of the time of the meditation, and it holds it in a physical format. And in a physical format, not only just like a CD or like, vinyl has a very spiritual, tone to it, to the energy, the sound of what you get from a vinyl as well, and it's an experience. It's just sometimes you can't even explain the feelings, but it's an experience, It's something bigger and it's a higher purpose than just, putting out music on a medium, Vinyl really represents something higher to me,
I've got a couple of your vinyls here in front of me right now, and what really strikes me is the quality of the product. And I'm not just talking about the music, I'm talking the artwork, the pressing. One of them even has a lyric sheet to accompany it. In a time when vinyl sales are picking up slightly, but they're still not what they used to be, say, 15 years ago, and it's easier for people to download music digitally, do you think it's very important to give people an all-round package? Because personally speaking, when I saw the Reggae Rocket vinyl, I felt I needed it, not just because I liked the song, but because I saw it as a collector's item.
Yes, I mean that is the whole thing. I mean, if you notice how the system works in terms of even the other genres of music, like the popular ones like hip hop and you know what I mean, and even jazz and all these types of music, when the music is presented to the people, it's presented in a very proper package. Presentation is key. I was taught that when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's alien to me. I think most people have been taught that, but it is not something that we look to preserve or make sure that this is happening, So packaging is definitely very important. The way you present whatever it is to the people is very important, And I believe that the art and the music are one, All of the arts is one, you know what I mean? Because the music generates good food, it generates good liberty, it generates good artwork, it generates just an overall connective, loving vibe, you know what I mean? So the art and the music for me, is one. So when you see my music, you see the artwork, which is totally connective to the music. You can actually read the artwork and see exactly what the music is about. And I give thanks to people like Mau, Reggae from England, massive artist. He's been working with me from the Jet at the Control, and we've done like a series of works. The works I try to keep in a certain line so people know exactly where the story is being told from and where it is going, you know what I mean? And my brethren Matthew McCarthy in Jamaica, who did the Easy Breezy cover, another massive youth doing a massive job in Jamaica in terms of the arts and trying to, galvanize the energy of the youths them and get them into positivity. So it's just an overall movement of positivity, and I just like to connect those dots and not leave anything out.
As we speak today, you're in New York, if I'm right, getting ready for the debut of Dubwise New York. And yes, you've just come back from a tour of Europe and Africa with Yardcore. I'm particularly interested in your time out in Africa. Can you tell me about your experience out there, not just the shows, but what you got up to in between them too?
Well, I went on a spiritual sojourn in Africa, really. The tour was great, the whole tour, the shows, both in Ethiopia and Kenya. We had 2 shows in Ethiopia, in Addis and in Shashamane. Both shows were well received and very good for the whole, you know, outlook and the future of what reggae music is in Africa or will be, you know, and in Kenya as well, you know. But as I say, it's a spiritual sojourn, so I man never really, you know, try to do the sightseeings and the picture takings and all that stuff, you know. I kind of just try to hold a spiritual vibe, because I believe Africa is where the spirit of I and I, you know what I mean? Not saying it is something for everyone, but, you know, for I and I, the spirit of I and I, to go to that next level, to go forward, Africa is the next stage of I and I growth, you know. So I was trying to take in the people and the energy. And to be honest, you know, the most magical thing to me, you know, which I saw was the reception of the Africans, the Ethiopians, the indigenous people to the land, not the expatriates or the people who are coming back. You know, I mean the people who live on the land, who don't speak English mostly, and in their culture, in their world still, not of Rastafari, but feeling Rastafari, you know. The response from them was very heartening, very warm. And I now see that Africa is ready for what we have to offer, you know, in terms of the whole cleanliness of the spirit and getting the people to move forward and think forward, you know what I mean? So that is the greatest thing. We give thanks, you know. You know, Africa is not really a place where it's like a mystifying thing anymore to me, you know what I mean? And I wish people would stop seeing it like that, you know. Africa has nothing to give you. You know what I mean? Africa is being raped, and this is for all Rastafari people all over the world. All people, but Rastafari people especially, who are looking to repatriate and looking to set up in Africa. Africa has nothing to offer you. You have to bring whatever it is to Africa. Everything is there, you know. Everything is there. All resources there, but it's being raped. You know what I mean? So don't go there and think that you're going to go to a place of paradise and chill and nice and everything is good. You know what I mean? You're going to have to work to set the country and get the country, wherever you go, you know, into that balance where, you know, we can see humanitarian liberty, where people living for each other and people balancing each other out and not just raping and taking from what the motherland has to offer. You know, so I implore anybody who goes to the motherland, you know, bring something. Bring your skills, bring your aptitude to do whatever, you know what I mean, and help the motherland, please.
You made a post on Facebook which caught my attention. It was about the 12 Tribes of Israel HQ in Kenya and how you were shaken when you visited it. For the benefit of people who haven't seen the post, would you be able to explain what you saw and how this affected you?
The post has been received, you know, very controversially, you know, in certain parts, and especially from, you know, members of the Kenyan House who are so-called, you know, executives or higher heads in the House, you know, who seem to believe that any intervention or interaction from outside that doesn't, you know, directly, you know, correlate with their movements or their meditation is something, you know, bad, you know what I mean? So, you know, that is not something I want to divulge on too much, but I would say that the Kenyan House, I was told, has been in operation since 1986. You understand? And what I went there and saw is not what I would be looking forward to seeing, to tell you the truth. That was the shock, you know what I mean? Because I know I grew up in the 12 tribes, I was born in the 12 tribes, I know nothing else. You know, and I've been privy to the information of the 12 tribes all over the world, not only in Jamaica. You know what I mean? And I have seen the massive wealth that has been garnered from Rastafari and the name of Rastafari, not only in the 12 tribes, but in all Rastafarian communities all over the world, and even in the system as well. You know what I mean? Massive wealth has been garnered from this meditation and this name and this inspiration. And yet still we still have this kind of deplorable living conditions happening within the Rastafari community in this 2015, which was the shock that I saw.
As a member of the 12 tribes, could you explain to me how Rastafari and music influence and affect each other in your life?
Well, you know, music is affecting me because I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's not affecting me any other way because I'm not a lover of music just for the love of music. You know what I mean? I believe music is definitely one of the greatest tools of the Almighty to bring people together and to bring balance to a man's or a woman's meditation. You know, so I do it for that purpose. So the influence of Rastafari is my life. It is what I trod, it is what I do, what I say. You know what I mean? And I say it through music because I was given a talent to do that. You know, so music is a tool, it's just a vehicle to bring the people them to where Jah want them to be, you know.
Just before I let you go, we have the album Original Dread coming soon, which we touched on earlier. Is there anything else people need to look out for from yourself in the coming months?
I do have Shalalak as well, an album which is coming as well. People are kind of, you know, bashing me because they say I might have 2 albums dropping at the same time, but you know, people need to understand that, you know, everything is in respect of meditation, you know, and I don't really plan how the Father work, you know, I just work with the Father and whatever he works, you know what I mean? So the Shalalak album is a collaborative effort, you know, done through the EDB collective, you know, people like Exile the Brave, Kazam, you know, Jakim, Infinite, you know, Philip Crucial, who's an elder, you know, a couple of elders that we brought into the project as well. You know, man like Matthias, my brethren from Germany, he produced a lot of the songs on the album. You know, so that album is a collaborative effort. You know, I myself is featured on some of the songs, but it is not Micah Shemaiah's personal album. You know what I mean? So I want the people to understand the difference. The Original Dread is my personal album. It is my meditation, like, directly. You know, so even the collaborative efforts on that album with Exile the Brave and Jakim and as I say, I only work with artists who are not heralded because everyone needs strength, and whatever strength, you know, I gain, I try to share it. You know, not in any way to be promoted, but just in truth. You know what I mean? So that's how I live my life, period, and it spills over into my music without me even knowing, you know? So that's how I do the work. You know what I mean? So this Shalalak album, people look out for it. It's going to be a great album in terms of the unifying energy, and you will hear it in the music. You know what I mean? It is a unifying thing. It's not about making hits or about being the greatest artist on earth. You know what I mean? I'm not really interested in that. I'm totally not interested in that. I've seen what the light does to artists. You know what I mean? And does to people on a whole who follow these artists. You know, because when they see something different, they're broken down. So I don't want to be, you know, in that. And I will say this, you know, when you don't follow the light, just like any organism, you know what I mean, on Earth or in the universe, you know, organisms have a curiosity, you know, and just if you don't follow the light, then the light will be curious and the light will then follow you because of the curiosity, you know. So that is how I live my life, and I have seen that from the growth of my music from day one till now. I don't follow the light, you know what I mean? But just still finds a way how to put my music in the right channels. So that is how I say, you know, give thanks. Shalalak, look out for it. It's coming May 22nd, you know, and look out for my Original Dread album, which is dedicated to my father, you know, which is coming in June.
Well, Micah, as a fan of your work, 2 albums close together is certainly not something I would bash. It just means it's a bonus for me. I'll go out, I'll buy them both, I'll support the cause, and I'm sure I'll enjoy them. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Sergio. Enough respect.
Gibbo presents